Today's a big day, I guess, because FEMA has announced that they have taken 1,000 homes out of the floodplain. Who wants to explain what that means? That would
Bill?
No,
Dan Repay of the...
It's a big day for the city of Hammond and the town of Highland. I believe the town of Highland also should be included in that. I didn't see the letter. Supposedly I'm getting a letter today or whatever. But what that in essence does, and I'll give you the geography, and I personally I'd like the city of Hammond to announce this or acknowledge this, but it's from Northcott Avenue where the tieback levee is at Cabela's. And Cabela's built that tieback levee for basically this purpose. If it wasn't for that tieback levee, the city of Hammond would have to wait until the project gets to state line to apply for this same variance or map revision.
Explain the tieback levee, where it is.
Tieback levee runs north and south from 8094 north or south to the river. And what they did was, and I think SEH designed it for Cabela's, and it's meant for if there was an event, a flood, that would protect the other side. Either way. So if Schleicher was the flood, it would protect the Cabela side. And actually, in 2007, when the river did flood into Cabela's, if you remember that, and it flooded, it was before the 2008, when it flooded the boulevard and it flooded the expressway for the first time, that levee protected Schleicher from flooding. But for that, the water that broke through, and it broke through right at Hart's Ditch, the pressure was so great that it knocked out the flood wall, where Whitmore Country Club was, where they used to sandbag during high rain events. But they didn't sandbag this time. Cabela's wasn't aware of it, so it blew right through, and it caused flooding in that area. So the tieback levee was built for this purpose, was to minimize flood events, so you would protect one side or the other. And they built it. We're still arguing with the Army Corps over getting credit for it, which is something that me and Bill pull out our hair over. And
you mean financial credit?
Yeah, financial credit for the project. It's a 3 point.
Because I'll give you credit right now. Way to go.
No, we didn't. We didn't do anything.
No. So you're talking about basically it's a financial.
It's a financial paperwork. Cabela's built it. The Corps doesn't recognize it as a part of the project, although FEMA recognizes it as a part of flood insurance. So if that hasn't confused you.
Well, what it means, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Turn your phone
off, would you?
We'll wait for the.
We're on live radio.
Hey, listen. So they don't want to give you credit. I mean, in other words, for having paid for that, and then that reduces the full amount that you would have to pay.
Right. We didn't pay for it, but the Cabela's did, and Cabela's gave us the paperwork that showed us what they spend in all the engineering drawings, which is all what we need.
Okay, so we're talking to Dan Repay, the executive director of the Little Calumet River Basin Development Commission. So let's get back to FEMA has taken 1,000 homes out of the floodplain. It's big news.
Yeah, it's huge news. So the areas between Klein Avenue and Northcott on the Hammond side. So they've determined that the risk has reduced as opposed to a Zone A, which means you have to pay flood insurance. They've reduced it now to what I believe and I understand is a Zone B, which is it's optional. It doesn't mean that you're never going to flood, but it does give you the option as a homeowner, business owner, to have flood insurance or not. And I think our position has always been on the commission is that you make that judgment for yourself. You're going to either take, just like in your car, you're either going to put X or Y on your insurance policy. So it gives people that option. If it's a C, then that means it's not going to flood at all. I mean, it's just not going to flood. So how it fits in with us is we still have to maintain this, and we still have to make sure it's operational. The last inspection report, the last draft report that we received, I think it was Friday, excuse me, showed that the Hammond levees from Northcott until Klein Avenue is considered minimally acceptable under the Army Corps' guidelines. There's 3 standards under the Army Corps. It's acceptable, minimally acceptable, or not acceptable at all. And the issue comes in is if that levee moves from minimally acceptable to unacceptable, then you're right back into Zone A flood insurance, because what FEMA and the Corps say is that levee won't great, you guys have it built and it's nice, but it's not maintained to what level we need it to so it will work effectively. I mean, that's the easy version of it, or the as easy as I can get it to you.
Yeah.
What I think you'll see in the future, and I'm sure the mayor will announce this, or someone from the administration will be what the next steps are, and as a business or a homeowner, what you're supposed to do. That's not my place to say. And
once again,
you go
the
from there.
Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has announced that 1,000 homes in Hammond are coming out. So what's that mean for Munster?
It doesn't mean anything for Munster, because Munster isn't. If you could put the imaginary line, you have the tieback on the north side, which is Cabela's, and the south side is Wicker Park, that Highland area there. So, and just I guess to sort of dovetail a little bit on what Bill said. Now, if you see this, and this is not a small event. This doesn't happen very often. Now you have to look at it going west, and go west from Hartstitch and Northcott, and to get the Forest Avenue, get the state line piece in, build these levees that are now under construction, get them certified, and do the same thing for these folks. But also, if going to the east, Gary's levees are considered unacceptable. So whether they're built to the standard and we have all the documentation to prove that, they're not in the shape that they need to be in. And so we need to get them in that shape, and we need to make sure that for the whole project, that's what the importance is.
219-845-1100. Guys, put your headphones on if you will, please. And let's go to Teresa on line 1. Hi, Teresa. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Good.
I had a question just regarding the flood area up in the Wolf Lake area and the water gardens. Have any of those houses been taken out of the flood zone?
Teresa, I think that question would be better answered by the city of Hammond. I'm not familiar. I'm familiar with the water gardens, but I'm not familiar with what they're doing up there as far as where that is in the process.
Okay.
Wow, are you guys in the floodplain? Wait a second. Teresa, are you in the floodplain?
Well, that's where my mother lives. I actually live in Munster. We were flooded in the 2008. We're just south of the river on Tapper. But my mom lives over on Stewart Court, and she is in the flood zone, she's a couple blocks from the lake.
So wait a second. Your mom lives by Wolf Lake, and you lived on Tapper, which was probably right in the heart of it. Tapper was like was almost the worst. I mean, I know you already know that. It was the worst road during the flood, just about. What are you still living there?
Yeah, we rebuilt on the same lot.
You rebuilt on the same lot, so you're still in the floodplain, right?
Yes,
and you have
because we rebuilt and we're higher up, it is significantly less than what we were paying.
So it is, but you're still you still have to pay the flood insurance.
Correct.
And what are you being told about when you might eventually get out of that?
We haven't been told anything, and at this point I'm not sure I would even risk that. I think for all these years we thought it would never flood, never flood. We're waiting to pay off our mortgage, and thank God we still had a mortgage and had flood insurance when that happened.
Wow, that's true. All right, thanks a lot. Dan Repay is going to address flood insurance in Munster.
Well, I think.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
And I think that's what goes to the point of why we need to put more emphasis, not more emphasis, but we just need to finish the project off at its points, both 7 and 8. People are working out there now, and get to the state line. She would be a perfect example. If we ever were to apply for the same letter of map revision for, not me, but Munster and Hammond for those segments going to the west, she would have that option. It wouldn't be mandatory to have her have flood insurance. I would doubt they would ever take her completely out, or that neighborhood completely out, just like they would never take Schleicher completely out. But I think they would give her an opportunity to say, well, how much flood insurance would you like? What's your risk, or what's your level of comfortability with how much it's going to flood, or maybe we'll never flood at all. And
one of the things that we've been working on, and this is for the entire system, is the program called, it's A99 is how we know it. I don't know how else to describe it, but that's the moniker for this program, which is basically a reduction in premiums to have the flood insurance, because you should have it, but you shouldn't have to pay a big number as if there wasn't any man-made protection in front of it. So you still would pay the flood insurance, but the premium would be significantly less. So that's one of the primary goals in trying to get all of this construction completed, and also go back and try to clean up a lot of the things over the last 20 years and get all of the deferred maintenance and all the issues need to be done for a system-wide thing, because for me, and, I had even people from work asking me questions about the development over here. And I says, I can't speak to how government works because I'm still learning and surprised about the nuances of it. But it's still a system, and it's a system that includes the entire watershed. And you've got to manage that on a comprehensive level if you want to actually do this right.
Dan Repay and Bill Baker, we've been talking a lot about this announcement. It came out that FEMA has removed 1,000 homes and businesses from the floodplain in Hammond. Times does a good article on this. The mayor has put out a release also. He'll talk about it on Friday. Going forward right now, give a general update of where the rest of this thing is going.
Sure. We are currently doing Stage 7 and Stage 8. Stage 7 is Northcott to Columbia. That's a little bit slower. There was an issue with the contractor. He subbed the work out now to another contractor who's now starting to do some work, some technical work. The major work is being done now in Stage 8, which is Columbia going to the west to Manor / Lyman Avenue. You will see, and you are starting to see, a lot more grading going on. We have some issues with some rocks and some of the grading, but we'll figure that all out. Manor Avenue levee is actually going to be rebuilt. They want it rebuilt to a different level, and so that's going to happen. And the commission has sent out a RFP, which is a request for proposal, for trees to be removed from within inside the levee. And the reason why that's important, and Bill, you know what? I'll let you want to explain it. How important it is. We spend so much money to remove trees from the river. The trees at the Columbia Avenue Bridge, trees at the Kennedy, Highland spends money. We spend money trying to remove all this. So we figured you're going to either pay me now or pay me later, and we're going to remove the trees inside the levee so that when they do fall, when beavers, although Conservation Mike is on a roll now of helping beavers find different places to live in the afterlife, we're just going to take them out, and that will help flow the river a whole lot better. But you will see work being done there. We're actually, and the commission is actually spending money today at the Manor Avenue, Lyman Avenue, Nickty track. There is a huge blockage, and in light of the fact that it's going to rain Wednesday and rain Saturday, we're having it all removed. And by the way, I've never seen a turtle as big as I've seen at that railroad. That thing was the size of this table. And I'm not joking.
There's a lot of nature, I'll tell you.
So it's
I'll end
moving along.
Yes, it's moving along.